This is not just another golf podcast. This is Golf Underground. This is Golf Underground. We just happen to be the third funniest podcast in golf. We interview PGA Tour pros, Hall of Fame athletes, rock stars, business leaders. Sure, we talk about golf, but we have fun. All right, let's do it. Welcome to Golf Underground. Now your hosts, Wardo, Sully, and MLB Hall of Famer, George Brett.
Yeah, in the spring of 99, I guess, and Tim Neer was going to be the president of the club at Seminole, and he said, "Do you think Oakmont would allow you to spend the winters with us?" And I said, "I don't know, but I'd like to ask." And and I did, and my predecessor, Lou Worsham, who won the U.S. Open in St. Louis, came back to work for 32 years at Oakmont. Lou Worsham, he was at Coral Ridge in the wintertime in Oakmont, so they were used to their professional, being splitting his season. So they were great about it. I went to Seminole about the middle of October, came back about middle of April. And, as you know, in the Northeast, you guys in Kansas City, you know the deal. Not much happens in the wintertime. So I didn't miss a lot. It was a great time for my staff at Oakmont to really to grow and become the guy while I was gone. Right. And so a lot of guys ended up getting their own jobs from it. And it was great. It was a great relationship. We had about 8 members that were members of both clubs. And it was just a great experience for me. I'm happy I did it. My wife was really the key to it. I asked her first. I told Tim Neer, I said, "Can I ask my boss first?" And Nancy was all for it. She was a trooper through it. She raised the kids mostly in Florida, full-time school. So, it was a little back and forth in the spring and the fall with them being in school. And but it was a blast. I mean, Seminole and Oakmont are like night and day. They're so different, and both terrific in their own right, but they're very different. I got asked the question a lot. Which ones you like better, Oakmont or Seminole? It's just too easy of a layup for me. I like Seminole a lot better in the wintertime. I like Oakmont.
It's so true though, isn't it? I mean, what an incredible place. One thing back to your assistant's growth, I was doing some research today, and listen to this stat, George. She's had over 100 assistants. 45 of them have gone on to become head pros at numerous facilities throughout the country / world. It's pretty good.
Thanks for joining the Golf Underground. Now, the Golf Underground is brought to you by Star Companies, KC. Experience a more energy-efficient and comfortable home with Star's insulation services. Regain functional medicine. Feel better, function better, move better, and look better. Regal Distributing, specializing in the distribution of food service and professional cleaning supplies to a variety of industries. Cowell Insurance, providing brokerage and risk management services for over 25 years. Sono Orthopedics, care plans backed by research and clinical results, tailored perfectly to individual needs. Bob Sight Ford and Bob Sight Independence Kia, where you'll score a double eagle on your next car or truck. Sheridan's Unforked, eating good and feeling good. Lewisburg Ford, nobody sells more F-150s than Lewisburg Ford. And Celebrity Greens, put a custom PGA caliber putting green in your backyard for the ultimate golf experience. Now, onto the program.
Take us into the regular job of a golf pro at a course with the history of Oakmont. How different is that from just the regular club pro who's floating around? Because you're dealing with big tournaments, majors. There's a lot going on there. I mean, is it that different than what the regular guy at the Loch Lloyd or Mission Hills Country Club goes through?
No, I don't think so. I think the X's and O's are all the same. Obviously the cachet of Oakmont and Seminole, are high-profile places, and the people that visit there, probably more visitors come there than they would at Mission Hills. But, it's still all about, running a good operation, making everybody that's on property feel like a member for a day, and, making their experience better. And, from the dropping your bag off to going to the locker room to coming down to the shop, meeting the caddy master, meeting your caddy, and the caddy experience is so important. They're with you for 4 hours, so they get the big part of their trip there. So they're unbelievably important to us. And then when you finish, so it's all about providing the right experience for people.
So let me ask you this: why is it so difficult for many clubs to create this experience? And let me give you an example. So what I do for a living is I work with companies to teach them how to create a customer experience. And so, in fact, I did the Midwest sectional PGA. We had all the pros there, and basically teaching them selling skills, right? They look at your job as you're selling joy and you're selling a day of experience. And things you just described, picking them up at their car, introducing them to the caddy master. You almost described it like a Disney World experience. And a lot don't do it that way, but isn't it easy to separate yourself from everybody else? Why do you think some just decide to lay up and maybe not do as much as they need to?
Well, I think it's, their membership, or not their mentorship, who they're mentored by, what club they're mentored at. I just was kind of thrown into the fire. I was 25 at Oakmont when I got the job, and it seemed like the light switch turned, and all of a sudden in 1980, the game and the whole thing switched. And, so I kind of grew up in it, and I was fortunate that I played a lot, and I played around the country a lot, and everywhere that I knew I was in over my head. So everywhere I went, I was really studious as to what was going on, how I felt being treated at these places, and the experience that I wanted to go back and, do the best of the best, and just, take the best of everybody that I ran into and bring it back to Oakmont. And that's, just kind of learned on the run.
Did you learn much of that from your predecessor, Lou Worsham?
No, it wasn't that way back. There was old school, that's why I said it's kind of that 1980 kind of switched the switch on, the whole profession, really. I mean, Lou was old school. We still had shirts in the plastic. We did about 100,000 in sales that last year. And it wasn't a priority for him, and it wasn't a priority for the club. And, when the first couple of years of getting in, just things really, really changed really rapidly. I mean, across the country, not just, in Oakmont, but, so it was a great learning experience.
Well, at both of those courses, you have so many people from out of town coming to play 2 world-class golf courses. Everybody that plays buys a souvenir, don't they? I mean, I've been fortunate enough to play Seminole and Oakmont, and I guarantee I bet I have 2 or 3 shirts from each one, a hat from each one, and a belt from Seminole.
I bet George spent $100,000 on his own.
You buy something. You go there and you buy something.
Well, you're kind. Most of the visitors do, and we try to make it a great experience for them. And that little shop at Seminole did some nice business out of that little space.
Yep.
I was playing with a friend of mine. I was there with Rush Limbaugh. We used to go down and play golf with him, and we would go there and play with Rush. And I'll never forget, we're playing with my friend from Hawaii. He shot 110 that day, but he got a hole-in-one on the 17th hole.
Oh my
And he
God.
bought the print. That print is in his house in Hawaii, and he shot 110 with a hole-in-one on 17.
Wow.
That's a pretty darn good hole-in-one.
Shot I've ever seen.
You didn't keep
awesome.
the scorecard, George. That's not on the wall, is it?
The scorecard is on the wall.
It is.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
All right, Bob. So let's jump back to Seminole or Oakmont in the golf course, right? It's one that's one of the best, and obviously it's gone through some massive changes with the removal of thousands of trees. Talk through what you liked before about the golf course, and now talk through what you like of the more or less treeless Oakmont.
Well, Oakmont was always great. It was always ranked in the top 10. I really didn't think much about it till the 83 Open we were going to have. And I took the grounds committee down to number 1 and put my ball in a bunker on the left side of the fairway. So I just kind of want you guys to see what's facing me here. And what's facing me was I was behind a tree, in a bunker behind a tree. The tree all of a sudden had just grown up to where it was, it was in the way. So, the chairman of the grounds committee said, Bob's right. We need to take that bunker out. And not good. That's not the answer I was looking for. So that was 83. We didn't take a tree out till 1990. So, it was an era in time where people were planting trees, for their family, that people are dying. They thought it was, beautification. We had beautification parties at Oakmont on Fridays to raise money for, to beautify Oakmont and to create all these trees. Every green was surrounded by pine trees that give a nice backboard effect. And I didn't really think a lot about it. It was pretty. It was good looking. And one day we played with Jim Simons, who was a great player from Pittsburgh. And we told him we were thinking about taking these trees out on 14. And he said, "You can't do that." He said, that frames our shots. That's how we play. We play off the right side or the left side and try to cut it away from the trees. Right then I knew we were onto something. And, the more trees we took out, the prettier the place got. You started seeing the ditches, you started seeing the bunkering, the shadows. I mean, it just got extraordinary. And I want to tell you, it was 25 years before we took the last tree out. Wow. So it wasn't like all of a sudden we decided to go in and nuke the golf course. We were just trying to take trees out that were interfering with play. And then we started taking the trees out behind the greens, and we took out the backboard. When you shoot hoops without a backboard, it's the same hoop, it's the same speed, distance, everything, but it's a lot harder than when there's a backboard there. So the shots got a lot more difficult. They said you're making the golf course too easy. It got a lot harder. Without any framing of trees and that backboard, it got a lot harder. So Oakmont's hard. I love it. I love the look. It's a very inland, linksy-like look, which is what the founder had in mind when he built the golf course. March 1st, we start. Gil Hance is coming in March 1st to make the greens bigger, redo all the bunkers on the golf course, redo the irrigation, change a few fairway widths, and get ready for the 25 U.S. Open that's coming up. So we're excited.
How long will the course be closed?
George, we're not going to close it. We're going to close 9 holes in the spring and the other 9 in the fall. So in the summer, we'll play all 18 holes. So most clubs that do it, you're right, they close for a year. But we're gonna at least have 9 holes to play. So it'll be a little bit of pain, but it'll be worth it.
Awesome. All right, shifting gears to Seminole. We talked about the much different style of golf. Talk through the severity of the par 3s at Seminole.
Well, the joke is we take, if it's a windy day, we take 4 scratch-type players, and we say that the over and under is 4. 4 being 4 balls will be on the green at the end of the 4th par 3. That's kind of the average. It's really hard. They're really something. And when the wind's blowing, it's difficult, even for good players. So they're awesome. Seminole's going through another little renovation. We had Core Crenshaw come in 17 and do some great work, and now Gil's going to do some work there as well with redoing the bunkers there. He just does incredible bunkers, with the width of the lips and whatnot. So we're excited about that too.
Walk the person, the listener through that's never been and may never go on the grounds of Seminole. What is that? I know what I experienced, but talk through what that is like coming onto the property and into the clubhouse and into the locker room. Talk through that.
Well, I think your anticipation is pretty incredible to start with. So you're kind of, on pins and needles coming in. You come in, you drive in on the pebbles. The members, they like to say, when I hit those pebbles, my stress level just goes way down. I know I'm in a really cool place. you come into the clubhouse and there's a window there that you sign in at, and a person there at the window, and which is a little unusual. And you walk up the steps into a courtyard and then into the men's locker room, which is, you look around the men's locker room and you could stay in there for a couple hours. It's really cool. And most people, the boards on the walls depicting all the great names. I don't know, George, if you won anything at Seminole, but if you have your names up there on that board, and so everybody looks at it. Sean Connery's up there. Some really famous people. But there are actually some photo books that we have, what do you call them, yearbooks, that are pasted in there. A lady does it with just pictures and puts scrapbooks, is what I want to say. And you could sit there and just look through those scrapbooks. They go back to the 30s. And the first year the course was played was 1930, and Trent Jones or Donald Ross did it. And George, you remember going back with the great commercials that we saw. E.F. Hutton, when E.F. Hutton talks, everybody listens.
Right.
E.F. Hutton was the founder of the golf course. He happened to be married to Marge Meriwether Post, who, obviously from the Post fortune. Together they built Mar-a-Lago, where President Trump lives now. So they were really the kings and queens of Palm Beach social life. She said to him, you can build that course up there. I don't play golf, but you better be home by 7 o'clock for all the balls that that we have to go to. So we close at 6 o'clock. It's a little unusual. You're in the locker room at 5 to 6, and the locker room guys are like, "Oh, Mr. Brett, it's going to be 6 o'clock pretty soon. You need to leave."
Yeah.
It's not like you can hang. It's not a place to hang. Seminole.
There's no place you can hide in that locker room. It's just one big square.
That's right. Yeah,
You can't go down another corridor and hide behind the lockers. It's one big square, which is the coolest thing in the world.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's always voted the greatest locker room in the game. And you come down the stairs that you used to go out of the locker room and there was a pool there. Well, the pool was gone. When I would do member orientations, we'd walk by the pool and I'd say, "You don't want to be caught in there. Don't use the swimming pool." So it wasn't really for use. It was just to look at. And, then you go downstairs and all of a sudden the whole place just opens up in front of your eyes. I mean, it's a special place, and the history of it, with Hogan being there for so many years, and now the pro member being brought back, which incidentally is a week
from week from today
on the after the Honda. So
oh no, I'm not playing.
Yeah,
not invited.
How many PGA guys are on or at Seminole?
96 teams, 96 PGA Tour players in this. Wow, I mean, it's extraordinary. It really is.
Going to play it next Monday. So it's two-man team, right?
It's windy.
Remember?
I do too. Yeah.
Wasn't there a story? Was it a couple of years ago was it Rory that won Honda, and then he shot like something pretty high the next day at Seminole, or who was it?
Well, a lot of them, that win the Honda come back and don't do very well on Monday. But Claude Harmon, when he was a professional there, that's back when they played for a lot of money back then. We don't play for any money at all now. But Claude shot like 78 or 9 in the pro member and was like pissed off. I'm never playing again. This was in 47. And he won the Masters in 48. So it wasn't like he was going to quit. But he said, I hate playing. Tony Penna talked him into playing the next day and shot 60. Just in a friendly game, but it's been the course record since 1947. But the guys get a little overserved that win the Honda, and they got to play early Monday morning, and so none of them have done too well in the pro member after that.
Well, speaking of 60, you just jogged my memory. There was a story about you having an opportunity to break Arnold's record at his course record at Oakmont. Can you walk us through that story?
Well, it was at Latrobe Country Club.
Oh, it was Latrobe
that he owns, that he owned, and it was the Tri-State pros against the West Penn amateurs, and Arnold, we called it the Palmer Cup matches, It still goes on today. And Arnold was on our team. He was in the first match of the day. I was in the second match of the day. And, it was something really ridiculous. I was like par 70. I was maybe 9 under on 14 with a par 5 coming up, and Arnold right in front of me. And the match was over. And the fun part about it was Nathan Smith, who's won 4 U.S. mid-amateurs, and Sean Knapp, who won the amateurs. It was all give those boys. Didn't happen very often, but the match was over, and Sean said, "Come on, I'll finish up with you. You're going to break the course record. Let's keep playing." I said, "Arnold's right in front of us. You don't do that in Arnold's house, and we're going in and have a beer." So we just packed it in and went in. They made a big deal out of it. I didn't think it was, I think everybody would have done exactly what I did.
What was what is the course record there?
He has 60. He's 10 under.
Okay,
Yeah.
And you were 9 under.
Yeah.
With a par 5 coming up, and you just said, "No, we're going to go in."
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you'd have done the same thing. You don't want to break Arnold's record at his home course. That's wouldn't have,
Bob, why not just fire one into the swamps out there? Just 8, 9, 10. I love it. That's great. All right, let's do this. Let's take just a brief commercial break, and when we come back, we'll just have a couple closing questions, and then Wardo's rapid fire, just to break into the mind of Bob Ford. I mean, there's a lot up there that can't be covered in a short interview, but it's so great to have Bob Ford, Oakmont, Seminole, and so much more on the Golf Underground, ESPN Radio.
Guys, as the male body ages, testosterone levels steadily decline, and your body's become increasingly unable to produce healthy levels of the primary male hormone testosterone. At Regain Functional Medicine, we can help you regain your quality of life with testosterone replacement therapy. TRT improves brain function, sleep cycles, heart health, performance, and overall body composition so you can feel better, function better, move better, and look better. Visit us today at ifeelmuchbetter.com. Regain Functional Medicine, with locations in Lawrence and Leawood. Regain is better.
Hey, Brian Sullivan here, and I've got a tip for you. You've got to head to Unforked. It's an amazing restaurant. What I like about these guys is they promise to buy and support seasonal, local ingredients first. And I love the fact that they source from smaller, family, GAP certified, or organic farms, prime-going regions, artisan producers. All I'm getting at is, if you like fresh stuff, Unforked is the place to be. And like they say it, fork or no fork, you can be sure you're getting the highest quality, socially responsible ingredients possible. And not to mention, it's delicious. So whether you're out south or downtown, stop by Unforked for a delicious and healthy meal. Sheridan's Unforked. Honest, clean food.
Cowell Insurance Services is your leading program administrator for workers' compensation. They're dedicated to meeting the unique challenges of the insurance industry and assisting employers in reducing their costs. CIS has provided insurance claim and loss control services to various industries, including trucking, construction, retail convenience stores, and healthcare, as well as public entities for over 30 years. They work with both retail agents and industry clients, or a combination of the two. If you're tired of fighting the rising costs of premiums and claims, give Cowell Insurance Services a call. Their dedicated staff is ready to find you the best insurance option at the most competitive price. They can help to define or enhance your safety program in order to move you in the right direction in reducing your claim and premium costs. Contact Cowell Insurance Services today, 816-214-4070.
Hey, Brian Sullivan from the Golf Underground here with a little good news. And that good news is that even double-digit handicappers like me can occasionally make a double eagle. All right, maybe not on a golf course, but even guys like me can score when buying a new car or truck. I'm talking about 2 stores, 2 brothers, and 4 generations, treating customers just like family. I'm talking about our buddies at Bobsite Ford and Bobsite Independence Kia. With these guys, you'll always score 2 under, with double the inventory and double the customer satisfaction. That's the Bobsite Double Eagle. Now, Bobsite offers a wide selection of vehicles and promise to make the car buying process as quick and as hassle-free as possible. Now, whether you have poor credit, no credit, or maybe a first-time car buyer, you can trust Bobsite Ford. And Bobsite Independence Kia will get you into the car or truck you choose with professionalism and attention to your needs. So go visit our buddies at bobsite.com, but only if you're looking for a vehicle that makes you feel like a U.S. Open champion. Hey, Brian Sullivan of Golf Underground with my favorite orthopedic surgeon, Dr. Kevin Whitty from Sano Orthopedics. Hey, Doc, golf season's over. My back is killing me. I know it's football season, so you get a lot of kids coming in, blown ACLs, all sorts of body parts with problems. And then, of course, those baseball players. I know you fix a lot of elbows. Why is Sano Orthopedics the absolute best sports medicine orthopedic group in Kansas City?
Well, if you want to see the guys in town who've had the best orthopedic fellowship training in sports medicine, including training with Dr. James Andrews and Dr. Larry Lemack, come see us. We individualize patients' plans to get them back to that activity and that sport that they love. And we actually care and listen to our patients and follow up with them and make sure that they're getting the results they need.
Okay, and so the three things that separate you: number one, best training; number two, you specialize in getting people on that field; number three, you're actually listen. Where can I learn more? Because you got me all in, and I don't really want to get fixed, but it's time.
At SanoOrthopedics.com, 816-525-2840.
Hi, this is George Brett, Hall of Fame baseball player, and I've been playing golf for over 35 years. Hitting the ball far was never my problem, but the closer I got to the greens, that's when my problems began. When I wanted a golf practice area in my backyard, I called Celebrity Greens. They are the industry leader in custom-built synthetic golf greens. These championship caliber, low-maintenance greens roll great, react like real bent grass, and hold chip shots that check and spin. I absolutely love mine, not only in Kansas City, but also in Arizona. Call the pros at Celebrity Greens at 1-888-507-7960 or visit them online at celebritygreens.com. Practice like the pros, or people like me that want to be pros, right in your own backyard.
Hey, Brian Sullivan, Golf Underground, with a little tip for you. If you're looking to buy a new Ford, you have to check out my buddy, Jason Gudenkoff at Lewisburg Ford. They've been saving Midwest Ford buyers thousands of bucks for over 40 years because they do business the right way. They sell everything, check this out, for $50 over invoice. That's simple and cheap. And they win a lot of awards. In fact, they won Ford's President's Award 17 times. That's the top Ford award. And they only give it to dealers with superior customer satisfaction in sales and service. So they know how to take care of customers better than anybody. Now, what these guys know how to do also, keep this in mind, sell trucks. Lewisburg Ford has sold more F-150s than any other Ford dealership in greater Kansas City. That's 2 years running. And last year, they were the number one F-150 sales leader in the entire state of Kansas. So, no hassle. $50 over invoice pricing, unparalleled customer satisfaction, and a huge selection. That's a perfect recipe for selling trucks. So, check out all their inventory and prices online at lewisburgford.com or give them a call at 816-444-2300.
New golf clubs, a big screen TV to watch the U.S. Open, or maybe even a new golf cart that I've got my eye on.
No matter how you choose to spend the savings, if you're looking to put a dent in your monthly heating and cooling bills, the answer may be right over your head. If your attic isn't insulated properly, you're missing out on a prime opportunity to cut costs. Call the certified energy experts at Star Companies, Inc., 816-353-2160 for a free estimate to learn how they can help you save money. 816-353-2160 or visit starcompanieskc.com.
Hey, welcome back. Golf Underground, ESPN Radio with Bob Ford, the legend of Oakmont and Seminole. Let me get a little resume here. In the 80s, you did the trifecta, Mr. Ford: PGA of America, Merchandiser of the Year, Golf Pro of the Year, Player of the Year. The 80s were good to you. I mean, was this like, was it Ronald Reagan and all the hair bands that were kind of getting you motivated? Like, how'd you do this?
Well, I was young and dumb and didn't know any better, and I had a good run, a very good run, very lucky.
Hey, do you ever get a chance, we ask this question a lot of folks who've had very successful careers, and we usually get the same answer. But do you ever get a chance to look back and just say, wow, I mean, this was amazing? And because certainly you're still doing it. You have a lot of memories to make, right? But so the story has not been fully written. But do you appreciate it a little bit? And when I say this, I mean yourself, not so much the memories. The memories made you, but, you know, give yourself a little pat on the back.
Well, I try not to. It's like, Kenny Rogers' song, don't count the money while you're sitting at the table. And I hope I have a few more memories to make going forward. And I don't look back a lot. I know that I look back with an awful lot of luck in my career. The fact that I was in Pittsburgh at all, I grew up in Philadelphia, And that I got to Pittsburgh because my parents moved there, and I was in college and ran into Lou Worsham, and I owe my whole career to him. I mean, he's my mentor, and I wish he were still here today. Died in 1990 at 73, so I didn't get to hang around him too much, but he was the man.
Yeah. Did you get a chance to mentor a lot of? I mean, certainly we talked about the numbers of folks who you've, but do you have any great story of how you might have changed one or two folks' lives by getting them into this game, getting them into that pro shop, teaching them, what time management is, organization, how to treat people? Because you've had to have a lot of sort of that raw talent who've walked in that door, and you gave them an opportunity, and they did amazing things with it, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't have one or two stories. I've got about 45, actually. We don't have time for that. But, it was, I really enjoyed taking a kid that was in school and then bringing him along and having him be with me for 8 or 9 years, like Devin Gee, who took over for me at Oakmont. His father, he was on his way to Medina to work for, can't remember at the time, but Jerry Hogg was his mentor down at Methodist College, and he called me and he said, Bob, I've got a great kid. He's on his way to Medina. His father was just killed. This was in February. Was just killed in a forest accident. A tree fell on him and killed him. And he'd like to be a little closer to home. Doesn't want to be so far away in Chicago. Would you take him? I said, of course I would. Be happy to. So we added him to the team, and he was just such a beautiful kid. I felt so bad for him, and he stayed with me 9 or 10 years. The 4 years of college, and 5 or 6 years, working as an assistant there. And darn if they didn't hire him to, take my place. And he's been there now 6 years, and Player of the Year in the Tri-State PGA, and just a great kid. And the young guy that got the job at Seminole, he was same thing. He went to Florida State with my kids and brought him along, and he's a great player too. I don't know which one's better, Matt or Devin, but just great kids, great people skills, and how do you teach these kids? I don't teach them anything. They just watch and learn, and as I did, nobody taught me. I mean, you just have to. You have to care enough to want to learn and watch the best people at it, and then try to be like them. And that's what I always tried to do. Bob Ross was, Lou left town after I got the job, and Bob Ross at Bonestrol kind of became my mentor at that point. And he was the king. He was so good at everything. I just love watching him. And we got to play in the 1980 U.S. Open together. He was the pro at Bonestrol. You guys remember Jack beat Aoki in that Open. And we played our practice rounds together. We went in the Big Ten. I just watched, how he handled everybody and tried to learn the deal, because in 83, I was going to host it. And, back then, the professional owned the merchandise for the Open. And it's like, oh, my God, this is a big deal. How am I going to do this? And thank God he was around, and he was so kind to me. So, I've been so lucky in my career to get that job. I was just in the right place at the right time. Same thing with Seminole. And, one of the things that really is warm to me is helping other people, helping the other guys, the Devin Gees, the Matt Cahills, all the kids that have come through, and kids that don't work for me. That aren't lucky enough to go to Oakmont or Seminole to work. You can only have so many. But, you can tell who the rising stars are when you play in the tournaments and you watch these kids and how they handle themselves. And the kids that handle themselves beautifully and are going to have a bright future, I get a big kick out of helping those kids.
So when these kids come in and they're working at college, I think this is true, but don't they get the opportunity to stay in the top of the clubhouse?
At Oakmont, they do, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I lived up there for 5 years. Yeah.
Did you really?
Incredible.
Oh, God.
Incredible.
Oh, that's
the histories. I mean, two great, completely, obviously Oakmont's is just massive, but two incredible clubhouses.
Bob, that room's got to be haunted.
Well,
right?
Funny you say that. I was up there my first year. I was the only one staying in the clubhouse, which was pretty scary. And the caddy master said, which room are you in? He knew which room I was in. So I'm in the one, that faces the putting green on the corner of the clubhouse on the third floor. Oh, yeah, I was Sophie's room. I said, well, who was Sophie? She worked in the laundry down there, but she hung herself from those pipes.
Oh, no.
That's what I did. And that was the first day. So I'm up there, looking at these pipes thinking this is finger for the pipes. The next day he said, the lure has that she had all her money between the mattresses up there. So she stuck her money. I'm an idiot. I'm 21 years old. I go up there. I'm looking between the mattresses. I came down. I said, Joe Stoner was his name. He was an old curmudgeon. I said, you're full of shit. And he started laughing. I said, you bastard. I didn't sleep for 2 nights.
So no one really killed themselves in that room. He was just messing.
Oh, no. Yeah.
That was
on my leg.
That was like fraternity hazing. That was your rite of passage, right?
Exactly.
Amazing.
Exactly.
So Bob, you've been on this amazing run. What does life in retirement look like for Bob Ford and his family?
Well, that's a great question. This is maybe a year or two being retired. I like to say that I try not to play more than once a day, and that always gets a little chuckle. And I play a lot of golf. As long as I'm healthy, I want to keep playing. I love it. I'm not very good anymore, but I love to play. And I volunteer as a member of the executive committee of the Pennsylvania Golf Association. So, I'm out there doing some starting, doing some rules, and just participating with the Pennsylvania Golf Association. That's fun. I do a lot of things for the PGA still. I'm the ambassador for the PGA of America for PGA Reach, which you guys, I'm sure, know a little bit about. PGA Reach has PGA Junior League with all the kids playing. PGA Hope, which is our veterans that come home that we try to get into golf to save their lives and make their lives better. And so I'm on that board, and that's really meaningful to me. And I help my buddy that owns Straight Down. I do some things for him. It's a cool company. Now that I have this affiliation with Straight Down, and every time I play golf, they say the word straight down so many times. It's incredible. Went straight down, went straight down, went straight down. Mm-hmm. Just a great name for a clothing company. Mike Rowley's a hell of a guy. He's a great player. He's owned it for 35 years, and we're having a ball together. So
is he in Minneapolis?
No, he's in St. Louis Obispo, California. He's been there for 35 years. Yeah.
I don't know why I thought they were out of Minneapolis. So what is where are you playing your golf mainly? Are you splitting time between Florida and Pittsburgh, or still?
I do. I go back to Pittsburgh. I go back to Oakmont. I actually joined there to join as a member, so that I was on equal footing with everybody, and didn't really want to be a freebie.
Yeah.
And so I go back and actually chaired the U.S. Amateur that we hosted last year, at 21, with my college roommate, who's also a member, Rod Pyatt. And I'm getting ready to do this project with Gil on the golf course. So that's been fun for me. In Florida, I play at Seminole a fair amount. I don't pay there, but they give me an honorary membership. And I live at Jonathan's Landing, which has 3 golf courses that I play at, and lots of places to play, lots of people to play with, more in the wintertime and in the summer. But in the summer, as you know, Oakmont has that SWAT, and we play 3 times a week. And SWAT's really quite a game.
That's awesome.
Well, there's so many great golfers, in the Jupiter area. My mom and dad had a condo on Jupiter Inlet up there for years, and of course we made the big mistake a few years ago selling it before the real estate. Yeah. It was bad move. Really bad. But we had a great story. It was there's a little bar, Italian restaurant called Casamiga right up there in Jupiter. I don't know if you've ever been up there. And we did his going away party and had all his buddies from all the area. Of course, he's a shanty Irish Sullivan like me. They don't let our types on the Seminole. They save the Muni courses for guys like me. But Ricky Fowler was in there eating dinner with his new bride, and he was gracious as could be. And I didn't realize just how many PGA professionals are just in that 30-mile radius around you. I mean, it's just wild. And so it's got to be, yeah. I mean, how did this happen? Like, what is it? Just because there's so many great golf courses? And certainly the weather, but I mean, there's got to be more there than even Arizona and Scottsdale, I would think.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know how many, maybe 35 or 40, but Jack Nicklaus started it. Greg Norman came down after, they all left Orlando. It was too cold up there in the wintertime. And I don't know where the private jet hubs are in Orlando, but one up in Stewart and the one at PBI has been great for all these guys they all have their own planes, right? Yeah. So, and they've got great golf courses and great weather. So, I mean, it became pretty obvious to a lot of these guys to come on down here to Jupiter. So it's been great. And, Michael Jordan's got his golf course, Grove 23. He's got his restaurant at 1000 North, it's called, which is a little high end for me, but it's really great. It's an anniversary kind of a place,
Yeah, right. Every 5th anniversary kind of place. Hey, if I had a question before Kevin gets into just some final rapid fire, who's your favorite young golfer right now coming up? And when I say young, it could be someone who's been doing it for, doing pretty well over the last couple of years.
Well, Rory's dad is a member at Seminole. He's probably the most popular guy, not because of Rory, but just because of his personality. I mean, he was a bartender over in Ireland, and he's just every time you see him, you just feel happy. And Rory's obviously one of the greatest kids on the PGA Tour, not the greatest, not only the greatest player, but also one of the greatest people out there. So Rory's probably my top pick. It was fun watching Tiger this past week.
Oh, yeah.
I love watching Tiger Woods play golf. Max Homa's got a great deal. Rahm and Scheffler are two of the best players out there. I mean, we've got it going. And I think that, the PGA Tour they have no competition. Well, what's going on up there, that other part of the world is not going to they're not going to keep playing much longer.
No, we talk about that a lot, obviously, and we won't bore you by getting back into it, but I don't think it's going to be around. I think you're looking at 3-4 years, and you even heard this week that Koepka was bouncing around saying, I might still. How do you think the PGA should handle it? Because I got to think there's going to be one or two every year, maybe more than that they say, I'm sorry, I made a bad decision. If you were the head of the PGA, how are you handling that?
Well, you can get back on the tour like everybody else got back, like you got on the tour the first time. You can either go back through the tour school, or you can get 7 exemptions. And if you make enough money in those 7 exemptions, you'll be awarded a tour card. And yeah, absolutely. I think we'll welcome them with open arms, but they got to go through they got to go through it the way they came out there, because they've lost their privileges.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay.
Well, that's a great segue into my rapid fire questions. So I'm just going to start hitting you with them. First question, first hole. Is the LIV Tour truly growing the game of golf?
No.
Second hole. The best ball striker you've seen in person?
Tiger Woods.
The best short game you've seen, you can't say Tiger Woods.
Jordan Spieth.
What PGA pro has been the most influential on your career?
Blue Ocean.
What player or member, I know you can't just say one member, but is there a certain member from Oakmont or Seminole that's been quite influential on your career as well?
Rod Pyatt.
Yeah.
My college roommate. Yeah. They sponsored me when I was trying to play.
Awesome.
That's pretty cool. Your college roommate you're still hanging with.
Yeah. And we were coach here at the Amateur last year or in 21. And yeah, we're pals. Great.
That's wonderful.
Okay. Excluding the 2 courses that we've been talking about, the best golf course, your favorite golf course?
Pebble Beach.
That's 2 for 2. That was Jim's too.
That was Jim McLean.
That's what he said.
One word that describes Dustin Johnson won on the grounds of Oakmont. One word that describes DJ.
Great.
This isn't really a rapid fire, but a little insight on what the commoner may not know about Arnold Palmer.
Well, I would think most everybody knows everything about Arnold because he's been so well documented. But Arnold was as comfortable. Tim Neer liked to say nobody played the role of Arnold Palmer in the movie better than Arnold Palmer did.
Wow.
And he was so comfortable in his own skin and so easy to be with, probably like George. And he just wanted to be one of the guys. He did not want to be felt like he was special to anybody.
Wow. Well said. All right. It's still the ninth hole. You got to go with your dream foursome. Well, since George had to jump off earlier to go to spring training or some barbecue, he'll be your caddy. Who's your dream foursome?
Well, I have two sons that are, low handicappers, and my son-in-law was a professional and a low handicapper. Those three would be in my group.
Love it. That's good. Well said.
Hey, Jim, before we let you go, and where you probably pick up on this with Jim and you. There's sort of old school of golf. There was this decorum and this classiness and this humility, which I think is what teaches a lot of young folks who came up caddying and, you were around the champions and, they would drop us off. My dad would drop me off at a golf course to carry the bags because he wanted me around gentlemen and wonderful women. And that's a gift it gave to me, is knowing how to act, knowing how to shake someone's hand, knowing how to look them in the eye. But ultimately, it's humility and learning more from others and being a great listener of others. Do you think that's leaving our society?
Without question. Yeah, without question. I grew up caddying. I did the exact same thing you did, and I learned from everybody. And, after a couple of years, it was like, I think these are the kind of people I want to be around for the rest of my life. And you learn so much from them, how they handle each other. And it's very disappointing. It's very disappointing to walk into a grill room and see people with their hats on.
Yeah.
And that was one of Arnold's big things. And it's just, and people talking on their cell phones, you just know you're not at a proper place when those things are going on.
Yeah. Yeah. Well said. Well said.
Yeah, it's and we're grateful that it still exists, because that makes the experience that you're describing as Oakmont. When it can't look and smell like any other place you go to. If you're going to be a top course, you got to do those things, and most don't. So Bob, thank you so much for the time. Really, this is an absolute honor for both of us to get a few minutes with you, and maybe someday. I'll get to walk on the grounds of those pebbles. Maybe I get a little pebble between my toes, and I pull that little gate back, and then they'll say, "You're out." But it's been an honor. So God bless you and your family, and we wish you nothing but the best as you keep changing people's lives. So thank you.
Thanks so much, Bob. Appreciate the time.
Right, Kevin. You guys take care. Thank you.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Epic day here, my friend, of absolute champions.
Solid.
I mean, this has got to be heaven for you. This is what you do for a living. You were still on air.
Yeah, I mean, you got two different sides of the equation, right? With kind of the consummate head golf professional. I mean, McLean said it best with what he's the guy, he's it. Well, he's the model. And to do it in two places that are both just have incredible amount of history is pretty fascinating. I mean, it's kind of, can't really compare it to anything. I think Luke Donald won the Order of Merit on the European Tour and the PGA Tour money list. It's kind of like that, because you're having to be in, think about two different, areas and, two different models. And and a lot of high profile members. So I just think that he's kind of the consummate, he's the guy. McLean, he's just got more stories and more. He's got a resume that's just ridiculous on the teaching side, and it's fun to dive in and geek out on all the different things.
Well, we could have gone forever with both of them, but McLean, it was interesting. I was doing the homework. Like, he's a real, like, innovative. He mentioned all these non-golf stars who was influenced him. And Jimmy Jones. He was telling stories about Jimmy Jones. He just went right down the list, and how he's been able to take all of these things from other sports and apply them to what he does. I think it's awesome. So, and the final thing to take away from me is, these guys are nice guys, and that's really what golf was. It was that gentleman types, and then these, and of course you got the Koepkas of the world and some of the other prick types, and And I was wondering what he was going to say when you asked to give me a word about DJ.
Yeah.
And he thought for a little bit. And if I were a body language expert, I would say he just said prick in his brain, but he just said great. Ambiguous enough, you take it from here. It could have been great.
Yep. Absolutely.
So, all right, guys, we got some more great guests coming up. You never know where they're going to come from. It could be the old school, could be the new school. Either way, you got Wardo, Sully, and George on the Golf Underground, ESPN Radio. See you next time.